The Cleveland Browns began the '77 season faced with a meat grinder of an early schedule that was easily the toughest in the league. The tough early going would require a lot of talent and a little of the help only fate can provide. The Bengals came first, filled with the heady excitement of Super Bowl ambition. To add to the challenge, two of the Browns' best, Paul Warfield and Jerry Shirk, had injuries that would keep them out the first half of the campaign. Despite the odds, Cleveland pulled off a huge upset. Dave Logan, Warfield's replacement, hauled in a 42-yard bomb, and the Browns were off and running. Larry Poole scored the only touchdown of the sunny afternoon, but it held up due to two key factors. First was the booming punts of Greg Coleman. The rookie twice got off kicks of 58 yards and constantly kept the Bengals bottled up deep in their own territory. The rest was left to Cleveland's slanting, stunning defense that confused the Bengals all day. It was spearheaded by number 78, 280-pound rookie Mickey Sims, who played in place of Shirk at tackle. On one key play, Sims used his 6'5" height to spike a pass to Joe Jones for a critical interception that stopped a Bengal drive. Another facet was the defense's detonation of Isaac Curtis, who almost always burns the Browns. Cincinnati never did get in the end zone, and Cleveland won 13-3. The first opening day defeat ever for the Bengals, and a surprising start for the Browns. Next came New England in a memorable Monday night extravaganza. The Browns, in one of the most exciting games in their history, showed a nationwide television audience their opening day upset was clearly no fluke. With nearly 80,000 fans wild with ecstasy, the cheers reverberated through the stadium in swells, a rolling wave of sound that spurred the defense to their second straight aggressive performance, this time against the potent Patriot attack. This was an emotional seesaw battle that had the lead change hands a total of 9 different times. In the second half, Brian Sight was red hot, hitting a perfect 10 for 10 as both teams strove frantically to put the game away. Then, with under 3 minutes left to play, linebacker Charlie Hall, number 59, picked off Steve Grogan's pass, and the Browns had a golden opportunity to win the game. When Don Cockcroft kicked a 37-yard field goal with less than a minute left, it appeared that sweet victory deservedly belonged to the Browns. But incredibly, with 1 second showing, New England came back to tie the game and sent it into the first sudden death overtime in Cleveland history. The Browns won the all-important coin toss and took control of the ball. The team, led by Brian Sight, rolled flawlessly downfield to set up a field goal. The Brown staff wasted no time. They went for the kick, even though it was second down. Such was their confidence in Don Cockcroft.
Well, here it is for all the marbles. It'll be a 35-yard attempt. 10 minutes, 21 seconds to go in the sudden death overtime. 27-all ball game.
This may be the game. Right up the middle on this shot, by the way. Snaps good, ball down, kicks up. It is good. It's over. The Browns have beaten the New England Patriots 30-27 with 10:15 remaining in the overtime, and the Browns have won their second in a row, and the fans are all over the field. Don Cockcroft kicks the field goal that wins the ball game. Final score, the Browns 30 and the Patriots 27.
In the final frantic moments, millions had witnessed the apparent rebirth of the Browns, but storm clouds soon appeared over Cleveland's Lakefront Stadium. In the third week of the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Browns were brought back to reality. In a typically brawling battle against their arch rivals, Cleveland felt the pain of its first defeat. Seven days later, against defending Super Bowl champion Oakland, pass rusher deluxe Joe Jones, number 64, dealt Kenny Stabler his first 2 sacks of the '77 season. The Cleveland defense continued to play exceedingly well, holding Oakland to merely 88 yards through the air. But errors on offense and continued shoddy play by the special teams contributed to a second consecutive loss, 26-10. Cleveland now had their 4 toughest games behind them and had managed a split. But division-leading Houston was next, and with Craig Pruitt limping on a sprained ankle, the prognosis looked bleak for the Browns. With a record of 2-2, Cleveland got back on the winning track, turning things around against Houston in the Astrodome. The Oilers were no patsies. They were atop the NFL's most competitive division and spoiling for more. Indeed, Houston took a 10-0 advantage. Then Cleveland's defense took command, intercepting 2 straight passes, the last by number 22, veteran cornerback Clarence Scott. It shot the team into the lead for the first time. But the Oilers and old pro John Hadl had a few tricks up their sleeve. With only slightly more than 4 minutes remaining and Cleveland now trailing by 2 points, Greg Pruitt stepped to the fore. The little guy had spent the entire afternoon on the bench, but now, with time running down, entered the fray and set up the knockout punch that would win the game. The scatback threw a pass as wobbly as his sore ankle. Cleo Miller captured the flying brick, and the Browns suddenly were in field goal range. With virtually no time left, everyone in the Astrodome waited for the inevitable from dependable Don Cockcroft. Cockcroft's magic toe had chalked up another upset win on the last play of the game. With his pressure-packed points, Cockcroft overtook Jim Brown to become the second leading scorer in Cleveland history, trailing only his predecessor, Lou Groza. The following week, Greg Pruitt struck again on the option pass, stinging Buffalo with a touchdown to Cleo Miller, who also ran 117 yards on the day. This game, the first breather for the Browns, marked the return of Paul Warfield, who contributed 6 points in his inimitable smooth gliding style. Now, with a record of 4-2, things were definitely looking up for the Cleveland Browns. The next Sunday, at home against the Chiefs, the team, with all cylinders clicking, reached its peak. Mike Pruitt ran for 96 yards in just 2 quarters of action, and Greg Pruitt rocketed through the line for a touchdown run of 78 yards, longest of the year in the AFC. On a day when the attack exploded for over 500 yards and 44 points, the biggest target for cheers was the appearance of number 72, Jerry Shirk, in the lineup for the first time. Shirk and his defensive teammates shut out the Chiefs until the final seconds and chalked up 6 points of their own on Tom Darden's touchdown interception. The 44-7 rout of the Chiefs was the high spot for Cleveland, and at the halfway point of the season, they found themselves with a record of 5-2, alone at the top of the AFC Central. The next Sunday at home against the Bengals, it all came to an end. After the 44-point spree against KC, Cleveland scored only once against Cincinnati. Penalties and poor tackling allowed their Ohio rivals to squeak past the Browns by a 3-point margin. A close game Cleveland should have won. The loss to the Bengals was a harbinger of things to come. Next, with Brian Sipe out for the year, Dr. Dave Mays went on a passing binge, including 3 touchdowns to Larry Poole. But in snow-filled Three Rivers Stadium, the team came up short again. Next, in New York, the Browns bounced back, winning for the first time in 3 weeks on Paul Warfield's final touchdown of his illustrious 14-year career, and on linebacker Gerald Irons' first score in his 8 years of pro football. Cleveland won its 6th game of the year, but had to struggle to beat a team they should have defeated handily. Against L.A. in Game 11, cornerback Ron Bolton's 3 interceptions sparked a defense that limited the Rams to just 9 points. But the Browns failed to get into the end zone at all. It was only the 5th shutout in the club's 32-year history. This was the final blow, for Cleveland fell out of the division race for good. When the roller coaster ride from top to bottom ended, so did 2 of the most tumultuous months in team history, and the Browns brass made a change. Shortly after the season was over, Sam Rutigliano was named head coach, for he is an articulate man who relates to the contemporary athlete.
I think one of the most outstanding attributes any coach can have is to be able to relate to people and to be able to communicate. And I think sometimes coaches are not patient enough to kind of talk and walk and jog and run in their approach to teaching. I would very much like to take a player, and if I had to literally perform an autopsy on him to get him to realize his talent. It's important for a person to realize his talent and for a coach to develop it to its optimum.
In Cleveland, Sam will have ample opportunity to develop young talent. For in 1978, 3 #1 draft choices will make their pro debuts. One is Robert Jackson, the All-American linebacker nicknamed Stonewall for his crushing tackling. Jackson is rehabilitating the knee injury that caused him to miss the past season. He'll join the 2 top picks from this year's draft, Clay Matthews and Ozzie Newsome, plus 2 former first-rounders that are special projects of the new coach.
2 very interesting people on our football team right now that are real projects as far as we're concerned. One is Mike Pruitt, who was a #1 draft choice out of Purdue. He's a very interesting young man because he has all the redeemable qualities to be an excellent running back in the National Football League. He seems right now to be a little apprehensive, and I think he's lost a little confidence in himself because he hasn't had the opportunity to play. And we very much want to integrate him into our offense and feel that we want to use him more and try to get him to realize the talent that he had when he was selected as a #1 choice. Now, Mac Mitchell is another guy that has size, has speed, has strength. He has all the redeemable qualities to be an outstanding defensive end. We feel that he has not had an opportunity to play as much as he should have in the past, and we hope that he'll also be able to realize the talent that he has. And so Mac Mitchell and Mike Pruitt, again, could give us 2 more #1 draft choices who have not been an integral part of the Browns' plans in the past, and we hope very much to, develop the talent that they had prior to coming to the Cleveland Browns. Offensively, I think that we're going to be the kind of a team that's not going to be a vanilla and chocolate team. I think we're going to have a lot more variety. We'd like to have the bottom line be execution, but we'd like to do it in a lot of different ways.
The offense starts at quarterback, where Brian Sipe has the cool confidence every NFL quarterback must have to succeed. Sam likens him to Bob Greasy and feels he's a winner. On the end of his throws will be Reggie Rucker, a glue-fingered veteran who knows his way around a football field. Rutgers' 8 years pro experience should guide the team's 2 top receiving prospects. Ozzie Newsome, called the Wizard of Oz for his spectacular catches at Alabama, and number 85, Dave Logan. At 6'4", 220 pounds, Logan is a power receiver in the Gary Collins mold. A source of strength is the offensive line and its mentor, Rod Umanek, the only assistant retained by Rutigliano. The reason is clear. For this collection of low draft picks and free agents has developed into one of the most cohesive, effective units in the league. Their collective desire is symbolized by this one play by Tom DeLeon, in which he seeks out his man, neutralizes him, and then with great second effort goes downfield hunting for more. Further testament to their talent was that the Browns' running ranked 3rd in the league behind only Chicago and Miami. Greg Pruitt soared over the 1,000-yard mark for the 3rd straight year. His partner, Cleo Miller, blocked like a 3rd guard and gained 756 yards, best ever for a 2nd Browns running back. It eclipsed the accomplishments of such backs as Ernie Green, Dub Jones, and Bobby Mitchell. They were the running mates to Cleveland's superbacks, Marion Motley, Leroy Kelly, and Jim Brown. Add to them now the name of Greg Pruitt, a supreme soloist in a symphony of swirling bodies. Next year, with the 2 Pruitts, Miller, Poole, and All-American Larry Collins, Rutigliano will employ the best bunch of ball carriers the Browns have ever had. But he has special plans for torn number 34, a player he considers the prototype halfback.
He may very well be the most versatile running back in the National Football League today, and of course that's including O.J. Simpson and Walter Payton. We'd like to set him in different spots in our formation and get him more integrated into a little bit more of a variety type offense where he can catch a screen pass, he can get outside. He should catch 60 to 70 passes a year. So we're looking forward to exploit him a lot more into our offense.
With Sam's projection of Pruitt running as often while catching the ball more, another facet of his talent cannot be underestimated, according to Brian Sipe.
Greg offers so many dimensions to our offense. He's not only an outstanding runner, which is obvious. Besides that, now we've started incorporating this option pass into our game. Greg does it so well. He throws the ball as far as I do. He's capable of throwing to just about anywhere on the field while on the run. A defensive coordinator has to be crazy to get all of his men rushing up on Greg when he runs around the end, because Greg will hurt them deep. They just never know.
The big news for an eager young defense in 1978 should be the return to full health of the club's all-pro tackle, Jerry Sherk. Number 72, using the agility that is his trademark to glide along the line and plug a hole, will be a welcome sight indeed for Sam Rutigliano. Behind Sherk, the team is well fortified with a powerful package of quickness, 280-pound Mickey Sims, number 78. Joining Sims and Sherk at tackle is number 66, powerful Earl Edwards. Cleveland has the same kind of depth at defensive end, where besides Mac Mitchell, number 74 Mike St. Clair and number 64 Joe Jones are the starters. Last year was one of Turkey's best at both defending the run or putting the big rush on his opponent's quarterback. With Jones, St. Clair, Mitchell, Edwards, Sims, and Sherk, the Browns are solid on the defensive line. The bright light at linebacker was number 52, middleman Dick Ambrose, named the team's Defensive Player of the Year. Ambrose led the Browns in tackles. Rookie Oliver Davis, number 21, stepped right in as a regular at cornerback and was superb. Rookies in the defensive backfield are like flashing red lights. They attract plenty of attention. But Davis showed tremendous poise under fire and should own a corner spot for Cleveland for years to come. Another youngster who stood out in the secondary was number 20, Tony Peters, who flourished with the move to a deep post. Number 27, Tom Darden, blossomed into a freewheeling safety, the kind of ambassador against air attacks every team needs in the defensive backfield. Youngsters like Darden, Davis, and Peters in the secondary are reason for optimism. Another component of the team Sam Rutigliano will depend on as the 1978 season approaches.
I think the Cleveland Browns are an extremely competitive football team, and I think we're looking forward to an extremely exciting year, and I feel very fortunate being involved with a franchise that's probably traditionally one of the best football franchises in the history of the National Football League.
The Cleveland Browns in '78. New coach, new approach, and a wealth of blue-chip talent from the draft. But the Browns organization is acutely aware that only performance on the football field is what counts. And in the end, the ultimate jury will be the Cleveland fans.